Okay, so how do I plan on netting 2 million by the end of 2026? So, welcome guys. I'm gonna pretty much run you guys through what was the 2025 recap and also for 2026. What are my plans? What are my business goals, money goals, but also personal goals? Because not only there are goals personally, but there's also a lot of things that I learned in this year. And I actually filmed this video a while back, and then apparently the video was just completely corrupted and bad quality, so I have to do this again. And I know I'm fucking late, like super late, but this video, as of me filming, it's about 10th or 11th Jan, and yeah, I'm gonna upload this today as well. But so yeah, let's get into it. So 2025, it was pretty much takeoff year, very good financially, pretty much hit all the goals that I wanted to hit and all the expectations that I had of myself. And also, yeah, like overall, wow, like just an amazing year. Finally could actually see the goals that I had in my head and the vision that I had in my head about 2 years back, 3 years back, that finally have now manifested into this year. And really, I'm very excited for 2026. So um, I'm just gonna, I guess, dive in. So I have my laptop here, pretty much all the goals that I have set for 2026. So I'm gonna just start with 2026, and then we go through 2025. What were my learnings? What were my recaps, and all of those things. So for 2026, I want to be netting at least about 1.4 to 1.6 million US dollars. Now, look, before I actually get into all of these goals, so many people, they're like, don't reveal the numbers, don't reveal the goals, don't get nazar on you. And look, I am not that type of person, okay? Because I realize that if I am here and I am actually sharing with you guys not just the numbers but what is planned, and I'm actually living up to my promise of keeping you guys in the loop, I know that there's someone out there who's getting inspired and actually seeing, yeah, these things are possible, okay? And it's not just the highs, it's also the lows. I share a lot about my personal life, right? I share a lot about that, and there's a reason to it, because I know that not just the highs but the lows, if I can share those things with you guys know that you're not alone, okay? You're not alone, and you can actually take some level of inspiration from that, okay? That's why I share a lot of things, so many influencers out there, so many people out there, they want to just post content, they want to just entertain, do this, do that, and pretty much not share anything about their life, which, look, up to them. If they want to keep it more personal, that's fine. But look, for me, I have a lot of things that I obviously still do keep private, but a lot of it is still shared to you guys, okay? Because I'm here to build a name, okay? I'm here to build a journey, okay? The work is gonna anyways speak for itself, and I realize that because I am on that path, okay? Most people aren't. So I just want to clear that out before people start saying, oh, don't reveal your numbers, don't do this. I look, I'm gonna do that, okay? You guys know me already. So yeah, that's the first goal. Netting at least 1.5 million in USD profit from the business itself. Don't know how that's gonna play out, but I should have probably set a more bigger goal, like 2 million or something. But let's see how it goes, because a big thing about this year was that we actually did reinvest a lot of the money back into the business with just a lot of hires. And I do plan on hiring a lot more A level players and A team players, like proper C-suite level, where a lot of money is going to get reinvested. So I don't really know how that's going to play out, but it's a very exciting goal. And then another thing for the next year, so number two is a personal expense cap. So I don't want to be spending anything above 75,000 US dollars, okay? So this year, a big lesson was just spending like an idiot, like a complete idiot, okay? I remember when I first started making money and I first actually came to Dubai. So yeah, by the way, I'm actually here in Dubai right now and spent the New Year's here as well. I was staying at my assistant's house before, and now I got my own place here. And yeah, when I came to Dubai first in 2025 Jan, I remember spending everything on my debit card in India, and I didn't even, like, I knew I was gonna get charged like an extra 4% on just those international transactions, and I still spent like a fucking idiot, like a complete idiot. So small things like that, which really just like I need to be more careful of and spend more sensibly. And yeah, like overall, just the numbers wise as well. Yeah, I just spend a lot more money. Spend a lot more money. I didn't spend money on things that I could have written off with the business, which I should have. Like for example, my rent, my stay, my travel, all of those things, which was very, very stupid. And going into this year, I have to prioritize my actual personal finance more. A lot of things, yeah. I ended the year with such nice amount in my bank account, like my personal bank account. So much of it was just in the business, and something I have to definitely take care of. And another thing about the same goal, which is I do want to plan on getting, or I am actually going to get US credit, which is access to the US credit system. Why? Because it pays 4 to 5 times the number of points any other country does. And I was running the numbers, with all the influencer payouts we're doing, with all the business costs, everything. We're going to be spending so much amount of money, like at least 100 grand every single month, where it makes it a no-brainer to just go and get US credit, because you're getting so many more points. That's number one. And then also the travel benefits, the hotel, whatever, all those things that come through, where I can spend the money when I am traveling on things like that. And that's also something that I didn't really focus on this year. I was just spending money like an idiot. A lot of it went into travel, which I don't regret. I'm going to say I should not have spent that money, but could have spent it in a much, much smarter way. So with the US credit, I should be getting at least 3 to 4 million points, like just points, which is a lot of money. It's going to be more money than what I just plan on spending this year itself, depending on obviously where you spend. Like for a credit card, for example, if I'm spending it on a flight ticket, it probably has 5 times more value than if I'm just spending it on a fucking grocery bill, for example. So things like that obviously do matter, but I unlock so much more upside with that. And it's completely legal, completely possible. I also have a social security because I did go to the US when I was there for college. So when I look back at it, it's funny because when I actually went, I saw no point, no value, but then it's sort of like things just sort of full circle, and now that one thing is like, oh, that's a lot of advantage for me. So it's crazy how things work out. So yeah, that's number two. Now number three, which is just netting 2 million in the end of the year. So I want to net 2 million. That's obviously counting whatever we made in this year, I mean the last year, which is 2025. And I want to net that much amount. Don't know how it's exactly going to be, because again, I don't know how much I'm actually going to spend in this year with the business, especially because when you first start off, the business expenses it was so low, and now we're investing so much. It's like, wow, like damn, like it's really compounded. It's really like just catapulted, right? So I don't know what, and it moves so quickly, where in the first 3 months it probably look like the same, but the next thing you know, 9 months down the line, life is just so fucking different. That's what happens when you actually have motion. When you have momentum, things move so quickly that I don't even know what after July or like June will live and look like, right? So that's a very exciting and scary thing at the same time. So yeah, I do want to get that net profit goal. So yeah, Bitcoin holdings, I want to have at least $750,000 invested. So that's number four. I do think 2026 is going to be an insanely bearish market. If you just see how high everything has gone this year and even last year, like there is correction that is bound to happen. In fact, it's healthy for the longer term, right? So a lot of people there, the charts look insanely bullish right now, the short term, but I strongly believe that we are going to crash this year, come year, and that's why I want to save on a lot of cash that I just want to funnel through, mostly into Bitcoin, probably Ethereum as well, but I want to invest at least $750,000 into that. I think Bitcoin is the future. So when people are telling me don't put all your eggs in one basket, no, I will, because look, it's not just gonna go to zero. Okay, it's not gonna go to zero. There's $2 trillion in that shit. Okay, I can go on and on about why Bitcoin is the future and why not, but let me just give you simple 10 standard economics. Okay, fundamental economics about just supply and demand. Right now, there's 93% of Bitcoin mined. So out of the 21 million that's available, 93% of that has already been unlocked. Okay, in the next 10 years, we're going to be at 99.9%. And when that next 0.01% is going to be mined? I'm going to pause here, okay? I'm just going to have you guess, because you have to guess, okay? Just pick a year in mind of when that 0.01% is going to be unlocked. You have the year in your head? Okay, now I'm going to tell you when. At least 120 years. 120 years. I'm going to be dead. You're going to be dead. We're all going to be dead. Okay, and that's supply. Like that's just the bottom part of the equation, right? But then okay, it's about demand, right? It's not just just the supply isn't obviously gonna make the price go up. But when you see how constricted the supply will be, the amount of demand you actually need to just skyrocket that price, barely anything. And we're already adopting quicker, like we're adopting it as much. So obviously the adoption is gonna have to play into that. But I'm a strong believer. If I see prices, like even if the charts, and my dad, by the way, he's a proper stock market broker, okay? Like he's averaged 38% every single year for his clients in returns. And I can give some money, which is actually the next goal, which is plan on spending the remaining 250K. So I want to invest 1 million, and the remaining 250 is probably just gonna be an account that I have with him, and he's just investing my money and getting me returns. But look, he's averaged 38%. Okay, I've studied the charts since 2021. I've actually been in the crypto market since 2020, and he's taught me, how these things move. And right now, shit looks so bullish that in the long term, if you genuinely want like true, like here's the thing, okay, the way it works, it's gonna go so bearish. The charts are gonna show like no, like the price is just never gonna support, and it's never gonna actually show a bullish trend, which is actually what happened in 2022. That's when the real players that truly believe in it are accumulating. Okay, they're accumulating the stuff and they're buying it, and that's where I want to be buying. So I'm actually hoping that shit crashes. I really want to see red numbers. Like I cannot wait for that, because that's literally gonna get my dick hot. Like it's gonna get me insanely excited, because I know, like, if I'm buying that sell by the end of 2027 or even like 2028, like, dude, like it just makes me feel so abundant, like so much money to be made by just putting money and just letting it be there, right? And that's something I completely avoided this year, which was like not investing anything at all. And I had that idea of, like, get your money up first, get your income flowing, and then starting about investing. But look, I have that sorted, and I also do still have that income stream. So it definitely makes sense to now just put my money in baskets and keep it money idle and just making returns. But yeah, like for me, people think about retirement funds like 8% average return once they retire. I want at least 25. My dad, he averages 38% a year. So for me, when I look at the numbers, at least 20% is my goal every single year, and it'll be more than that, obviously, and especially with this Bitcoin thing. But those are my ambitions. Like I am a bigger risk player, and let's just say everything goes to shit, I still have my income stream. That's why I'm fine with taking that big risk. Again, I'm just 20. Okay, just take as much risk as you can. If you're a young person and you're in your 20s, right? Even if you're 25, you should be taking a lot of risk. So that's my number 5 goal. Number 6, which is actually a spending goal in the business, and we want to spend at least half a million. It's about 600K, but right now the run rate is we're almost already there at half million, so that's why I should be taking a higher number, and that's actually a good thing, just spending money back inside the business. I will get into the team part and the hiring part of like what are my lessons of 2025. But dude, there's so much power in just hiring and getting those true A players inside your business. And that's why I think, in the short term, you want to actually spend the money, and in the long term, you're going to see the ROI. And dude, a perfect example is Amazon. So back in 1999 and 98 and pretty much till 2002, this is something I actually just read yesterday, but Jeff Bezos, he would pretty much, the way they became a monopoly is, in 1999, their stock plummeted by like 80%, and he still didn't give a fuck. Like he actually was looking forward to that. The way they did that is they literally took losses on every single sale they had. Their main idea was sell so cheap, that everybody just buying from you and all your competitors are just thwarted from the market. And by the time that happens, you control so much market share, but then you can just manipulate the price. So it's sort of like you don't want those money, and you don't want the returns, you don't want the profit for those few years, and then boom, you can make a fuck ton of profit. Clearly now, I mean, the way you see it with Jeff Bezos and Amazon, right? So that's really the game. I'm not saying I'm not going to take profit. I'm a big guy about profit and cash flow, but you do want to invest heavily back into the business. So I'm starting to sort of see the time frame of 4 months, 4 years, 5 years, and sort of just monthly cash flow. And I'll get into that as well about like my personal lessons that I learned this year. And another goal for the end of the year is to have a team of at least 15 people. So right now we're a team of 6, and in the start it's just me in 2025. So it's crazy to see how the team can just grow, and I think we'll definitely hire more than just 5 people in the next year. I mean, this year, which is 2026. So that's my number 6 and number 7 goal. Now, when it comes to personal goals, I want to take my family to at least 4 holidays. The US credit is gonna play, obviously, and also, look, I'm at that stage now where I have the money, and look, the saying where you don't want to be rich to buy a Lambo and a Porsche and a Rolex. You really just want the money for your freedom of time, of treating your loved ones and all those things. And look, I could have done that this year as well, but I do believe I still have to accumulate a lot more money. There's a lot more to be made before you can actually start thinking about literally like just just your family and that's it. But look, about the Porsche and the Lamborghini thing, okay? In this sort of business model, in the opportunity that's there, in this gold rush that we're in, dude, you make 10 grand a month, you automatically have freedom of your time. You're your fucking owner, by the way. You're the CEO. You already have that freedom. You don't want to do that. You want to still work, obviously, but you have that choice. You have the choice of traveling whenever the fuck you want. You don't have to listen to anybody really, and that's already unlocked, right? So about the thing about like the Porsche Rolex guys, that's the people who want it only till they make the 10K a month. But then it's like, go buy the fucking Rolex, okay? Go buy the Porsche, okay? If people are saying that, they don't have enough money. Like they don't have enough money to actually do it. But I do strongly believe in using your money for others. And I'm gonna get into the lessons, okay? The 2025 personal lessons, that's the biggest one of this entire video. The money aside, all the things that I've already covered, that's okay. But a lot of the things that are just personal, insanely like eye-opening things that I just cannot wait to share. But I want to take them to at least 4 holidays. I want to get at least 2,500 subscribers on this channel, and I'm posting a lot more. I'm gonna be a lot more frequent with it. I'm gonna post at least once a week, so I want to post at least 52 YouTube videos, and then I also want 10,000 Instagram followers. I think I'll have a lot more, but you know, it's not really in my control about the actual end goal of these things. It's really just the inputs, and just get so lost inside the inputs and what you're doing that the outputs will just sort of show, right? That's the idea. So I'm gonna be just on top of all of those things anyway. So those are just personal goals aside of just the business and the money. But 2025 lessons, okay? Lessons. I covered this. Number one, I covered this before, which is spending much better and much more frugally than 2025. I do want to spend a lot less personally than I did last year, just for like I have insane paranoia, and I'm insanely, I have to be more insanely frugal with my money this year, and how I'm spending. I have, look, firstly, I have not spent nearly anywhere what I've actually made, but it still fucking gives me anxiety, okay? Until I have like a fucking egg nest of just millions and millions where I can just spend recklessly. And you know how all these guys, they're just going and they're buying these supercars, they're going and they're flying first class, they're getting these private jets, they're spending so much more money than I would typically do, and they're at the same income level I am at as well, and they're still spending. I don't know why. Like okay, live their life, I'm not judging, but for me personally, spend much more frugally. So want to spend at least not more than 75 grand this year. Second one, okay, this is big. I meditated on my mortality. Okay, so back in 2023, I obviously read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and a big part of that book was meditating on your mortality. You're gonna die. You're gonna die eventually. You're gonna die. Your loved ones are also gonna die, and it's a high probability that your parents as well, they're gonna die before you. They're gonna die before you. But about your mortality, I finally understood what a true successful life looks like, and it has to tie back to your mortality. Because look, I spend most of my days, I wake up, I take a shower, I hit the gym sometimes, I have my coffee, and I'm at the desk and I'm just working. The only time I take breaks is 1 hour before I'm sleeping, and then in between for food. That's it, right? And when I look at those days, I have the money to just have fun, go to do those things, but I still choose to do this, right? And when I have this big question, what is a successful, fulfilling life? What is a life where you can genuinely confidently say that if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, I have lived a great life. It is when you do what you had to do and what you wanted to do the day before. And it doesn't have to mean going on those holidays, going and having that fun, going and buying that car, and going and doing all these extravagant aesthetic lifestyle things. It can purely boil down to exactly the lifestyle that I just told you I'm living. And when I finally understood that, I was like, okay, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, I can actually confidently say, I can take pride in the fact that I am one of those few people that actually can go and say, I lived my life to the fullest. Okay, that is something that not even the richest of the richest people can say. Okay, I can confidently say that, and that is when I realized, yes, this is the life that I want to live. 2 years back when I was in those trenches, I could not say that. I could not say that I had that luxury or just feeling that feeling of, yeah, I'm hit by a bus tomorrow. I can confidently say that I live my life to the fullest, and now I can. So you have to get to that conclusion by understanding your mortality, by understanding truly how fragile you are, by understanding like nothing really is guaranteed and you can get hit by a bus tomorrow. So I meditated on this like around November last year, around October, November, and wow, like it truly hit me, and I was insanely proud of having that realization, and I'm insanely blessed and grateful that I can confidently go and say that. Not a lot of people can, really nobody can, like not even 0.01% of people can do that. So I am insanely glad that I learned that last year. Okay, I'm just gonna go and get some water. Not gonna fucking edit this out. Better wait for 10 seconds. Yeah, I know you're just waiting for me, but there's a lot yet to uncover, so you better fucking wait. Okay, lesson number 3, protecting my energy. So one thing that I realized in last year, and this ties back to Nazar about what I said earlier, people, I've seen people definitely want to take advantage of the success that I've had this year, last year, and I think a lot of it was about revealing my numbers, about revealing the money I'm making. I'm this young age, and I have definitely seen people try to take advantage of that. I'm not talking about my true day ones. I mean, I have a lot of friends that really like I've known since high school, since childhood, and I always take care of them. I'm not even talking about those guys because I take them out for dinners now. I take them out to just go have fun. Like we go karting, and I'm usually the one just fucking swiping my credit card, and I am insanely blessed to do that. I'm not only talking about those guys that take advantage of that, but there are so many people also as well that I saw that firstly got insanely envious and jealous because here's the thing, like you have your best friends, and then as soon as you cross them with the money you're making, you're gonna start seeing signs of envy and signs of jealousy because they are making a lot of money too. But as soon as you cross them, dude, like you realize that truly, yeah, like such amount of few people actually want the best for you. And that's why I realized, look, I'm still sharing a lot here, right? But I realized a lot of things that I do want to still share, it's really going to be probably mostly just to myself or just my family. That's it. That's it. And I realized that a lot of people like this out here claiming, yeah, making some money at this young age, a lot of people will want to take advantage of that. And also they do just want to have their own fun. I've been to rooms, I've been to places, I've had these experiences where there's a lot of fucked up shit happening, honestly. And those people who I thought were my friends, they really just want to be there for the moment. They really just want to be there for the moment. They really just want to be there to have their fun. And I realized it's not even just about the money. I just have to protect my own energy, my own inner peace, my own time, really. And right now I'm here in Dubai. I'm really just locked in again, and even New Year's I was pretty much locked in. Christmas time I was locked in. I had my holiday before in like December, but I realized like I truly just value this time. Like I like the idea that I'm just protecting my energy, and that's lesson number 3, honestly. Number 4, being more modest and just keeping my feet on the ground. Like when I say keeping my feet on the ground, it relates back to that egg nest and just having so much security with the money, and there's abundance. The income will always be coming, and yes, like even if I have 10 million but I have zero income, I'm gonna feel poor. I do think that, but I want that security of where my feet are just on the ground, and I have that egg nest out there, and the money is just there. It's sort of just piling up, and my feet are still on the ground. Because what I realized, today I can go and I can buy a supercar. Today I can go, I can get those eyeballs, I can have everybody fucking questioning how the fuck did this guy do this? Just pretty much go flex, brag, do all these stupid things, and a lot of seductive thoughts, as they say, the bigger you get, so will the distractions. And in 2025, I had so many times I was just like, dude, why the hell shouldn't I just go and do this? And I realized like I have to just keep my feet on the ground. It's really just been 1.5 years. Even end of 2026, 2027, a big part of that is keeping my feet on the ground, regardless of how much money I make. Because I don't think you can generally live a good, fulfilling, peaceful life without keeping your feet on the ground. I can go and I can get those things eventually, but I still have to keep my feet on the ground, and that's what I realized this year. Number five, yeah, this is a big one again. I have a much more clearer understanding of my vision and my purpose. And this ties back to, so when I went in December, I went to Norway. I went and experienced the Northern Lights, and over there I also did experience with psychedelics. So it was a big eye opener. A lot of people, like, I remember this one Steve Jobs email. He talks about, like, he wrote this email to himself a year before he died, when he already had cancer. And 6 months before he actually went and started Apple, he was actually in India, and he was, I don't know, in the mountains with monks and all these type of things. And I also do think he did experience a lot with the psychedelics. I think a lot of big visionaries, a lot of, not all of the entrepreneurs, but a lot of them, they do experience with this, just so they can get an understanding of that. Okay, there's two types of people when you do that. One, you're just at a fucking rave party and you're just clubbing and doing that, and I would never do that on those type of things. But two, when I was doing it, I just sat down and I was just fucking writing. Like, I was just journaling. Like, literally, that's it. And I learned a lot of things. When you're on that experience, it's going to be so hard to articulate this experience to you guys. But when you're on that experience, look, here's the thing. You just really have to do it until you actually understand it. And it's really your own brain bouncing back your thoughts to you. It's your brain trying to speak to itself. There are other people that did it. They probably didn't have these recognitions. They didn't probably get these ideas because that's not what their own brain wants to reflect to them. But for me, this is what it did reflect. So number one is I really realized, where the hell am I actually coming from? I realized, because it really clicked to me. My dad, when he was, I think, 20 years old, like my age, he had firstly zero access to any of the outside world because of just the world they were living in at that time. But he grew up in a village. He was in a village. My grandfather, my grandmother as well, they don't even speak English. Their first language is that language that we learned in that one small state. It's Gujarati, by the way, and they learned it just in that village there, and that's literally what they've been living through their entire lives. I realized I don't even know my great grandfather's name. I don't even know his name. I only know till my grandfather, and then my father, and then me, really, my generation. So I truly had that euphoria moment where I actually understood, where the hell am I actually coming from? And you also have that experience where there's 9 billion people in the world. You're such a small fragment in this entire universe. I think this is what they call the ego death, really, because you're so stuck up in your own head and your own environment and your own ego and your self-reflection that you don't even stop to think about, wow, like that, I'm just one person in this freaking rock on this planet, and there's 9 billion other people out there, and I had this own life of mine. And why was it? Because I was in Norway, for example, and we went to Oslo, then we went to the northern part, which is Tromsø, and then from there as well we took like a 4-hour drive into just villages. And we met one local as well while I was tripping, and dude, it was so eye-opening at that time because we were asking him like, where do you go to high school? And he was showing us, oh yeah, we went there. There were just like 29 other high school students, and their life is so simple, like so simple. They have just 300 people in their village. Nobody really, there's no fucking civilization there at all. And I realized again, like, why is it that I come from in a freaking city of like 22 million people, and I'm in this bustling environment, and then there's these people that just grew up in places like this, and you sort of understand like so much is really just like random, like every moment, every situation is just so random. Things just happen that you realize, wow, like I also had a realization, I'm truly living in a simulation. When I had that randomness experience, like wow, that is a simulation. So it made me insanely grateful, insanely blessed of just how things happen randomly. Because the bad shit happens too. A lot of bad shit happens as well. And you still want to be insanely grateful for just that randomness of that life. And about the roots, I realized even just the 9 billion people now, just think about human civilization of just how we've evolved. And you feel so indebted. These clothes I'm wearing, this microphone, this phone, none of this actually came from me. I'm so dependent on humanity. And that got me to the next realization, which is, I was telling my dad about this, and I was telling him, I only know my grandfather's name. I don't want it such with my kids and their great grandkids where they don't know just my name, but they should know your name. They should know my dada's name, my grandfather's name. And I'm gonna make sure of that. And this is something that truly is your own vision. I realized like it's really supposed to be just your own vision, because then my dad told me like, why do you care? Like, you're gonna die eventually, and he has some level of truth to it. Like, you're gonna die, just live your life. But I'm at that level where there's so much abundance. I can live my life right now anyways, but then why am I still carrying it on? And I realized it has to be for my kids. It has to be for my great grandkids. It has to be from my family name, from where I am coming from. And a lot of people don't embrace this idea because they don't have that opportunity. They don't have that level of abundance. That's where truly, the one is like the founders, the CEOs, the guys that have such a grand vision that nobody can really understand. But that's what it is. It's supposed to be meant just for you. Okay, that vision, it is for you and you only. So don't even expect people to understand that. And this extends not just to the family name, it extends just to humanity as a whole. I just talked about how dependent we are to them. And then there's the idea of like, you want to just live to give. You just want to live to give to humanity. Like that's good enough purpose. Like that, it really is more than enough to just want to give. That's why I'm making these videos. I realized that, I had the realization, like a peak realization at the end of last year, but obviously, I have still been making these videos. I'm just still here to just give. And that whole idea, most people, they'll just be stuck in that selfish loop and just thinking about their own ego, their own life. And look, you have to be selfish, obviously, to be selfish, but they don't even have these goals that extend beyond themselves. And I realized that a big purpose, a big vision for me just next year and literally throughout my life, it is for humanity as a whole now. And it was really great that I had that experience. I'm so grateful that I had that experience, that euphoria moment and that realization. And I also realized, like nobody's actually supposed to get that, because this is a huge vision that I'm sharing. Like it's fucking huge. It's very rare as well. And I'm fine with it. I'm completely fine with it. And it's like Elon Musk also talks about this, right? Like just question 20 years back, humans on Mars, living on Mars. And he talks about expanding the scope of consciousness. As humanity as a whole, we should be aiming to just expanding the scope of consciousness and just expanding that. And that's where things like where he comes from, I completely understand his idea, his purpose, his mission, where he's coming from. I'm sure like there's so much more complexity in his mind right now, and it's probably a bit disrespectful for me to just say I completely understand it, but I understand why he's doing what he's doing now. Like I genuinely understand. It's just for humanity. You just want to give. You just genuinely just want to give, and you want to just make us a better civilization, a better fucking humans, bro. Like that's it. Like it's fucking. I probably sound insanely crazy, but that's the whole point, really, right? So, like, nobody's supposed to get it. And then yeah, this is a big idea of just purpose, of just like vision, and why am I here truly to live. Money aside, all these egotistical and materialistic things aside. So that's a big one. That's number five. So number six, I truly understood what a good hire is like. Like a good hire is supposed to be like. What I realized is whenever you hire someone, and something I'm never gonna do again, and I realized this by making those mistakes and bad hires, obviously, don't just hire someone to just do things. When you hire someone, they should be coming to you with the ideas. They should be growing their own KPIs and their own results and their own work, because that's where the true power of organization comes. It's like the decentralized branch, right? And a decentralized system is obviously a much bigger company, but everyone is supposed to own it, where they are growing themselves, and it's sort of like they are helping the business, but you're also helping them with their own career and their own growth, right? That is a big mission and purpose and value of the business moving forward, which is anytime an employee comes in the business, there's going to be those KPIs, and as the months and the years progress, you have to be building them out and carving them out on your own. That gives them true responsibility. It gives them true growth in their own career, in their own capabilities, in their own abilities, and that's truly how you achieve like grand scale, like insane scale. When I actually think of that power itself, like an organization can grow fucking exponentially, exponentially, when you have that sort of system in place. So that is something that I definitely saw, and you definitely do need a good hire first. I'll definitely say go and hire a senior role first, because they already understand that, and they will help translate that vision to you. You're going to be young, you really don't have any idea, right? So when they come in and they do that, you see, wow, like this is the true power of a good hire. And that's why I do want to hire a lot more A players as well going into this year. So this was a big sign of movement and success, because the numbers are there, but this is truly where like you learn so much about business, and then you truly see the power, right? So another goal, I guess, was we had 100K net profit a month. Really, like, doesn't mean shit. By the end of quarter 4, like, what I realized as well, I've truly detached from just those monthly income numbers and monthly numbers of just how we're doing every month. Obviously, you should see your numbers, but we hit it. That's just a moment that I want to share. But I realize, like I've said in this entire video, it's not even just about the monthly numbers anymore. It's really just about what can be done in a 2-year, 3-year, 4-year organization and horizon. And that comes to the hiring as well, how your hires play out. With hiring, it takes more time, and there's a lot more power as soon as they settle in, because you're dealing with people here. You're dealing with people, and they take time to settle in. Then they're never gonna be as quick as you will be. You're the CEO, but it takes time for them, right? So that's where you truly start to see motion. So a big detachment as well has been just to those monthly numbers and those monthly goals. All the gurus are gonna tell you hit 100K, 50K. It's a strong hook. It's a good way to just get your attention, obviously, but it's really not that deep. It's really not that deep. So another big one was we invested a lot into the business. I've already covered that. And what I realized, as quarter 4, I got so desensitized to money. We made so much money, and I realized like dude, you're moving so quickly, you have so much motion, you're just like so involved in the day-to-day and the inputs that you truly get desensitized to the results. And I always had this philosophy, even in the start of last year, but like truly, this is where like it was like a moment where like it the fuck is it like fucking don't care, like cool, like made a lot of money this month, okay, cool, like I'm just gonna do what I'm doing every single day. The inputs, this is the input. So that's a big one. I'm not trying to come across as a dick about it, it's just money and it's so much money and I don't care. But look, like I promise you, once you actually start making so much, you'll feel so desensitized to it. It's a very big thing. Money as a whole is a big variable, so it should be a very big goal. That's why I let this video in with that. But there's surely a lot more as well at the same time that comes with it. So that's number 9. Number 10, I think I made a video on this like in the middle of last year about the people that I met, about just the levels that there are to these levels. And I was in Dubai. I come from a very good place. I have friends that come from
insanely wealthy families, and I went to one of their birthday parties. He's actually a big celebrity in India, and I saw so many people just make, like, they are insane. They are insane, and I realized there's levels to the levels to the levels. Like, you think a million or even 20 million or 10 million is a lot, bro. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. There's levels to the levels to the levels, and I cannot wait to be playing at those levels. I also realize that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think I'll truly retire. Like, I don't think I'll truly ever retire. Like, I'll have the money to retire, and dude, the distractions will get even more glamorous because I'm gonna have all of those supercars, gonna have enough money to do whatever the fuck I want, gonna have all these glamorous things, but like I don't think I'll truly stop. I generally don't think I'll truly stop. So that's number nine, and then no, number nine, 10, whatever. The last one is appreciating my solitude. I It was in the nostalgia as well. Again, I already knew this, but I truly understood like the power of just my own solitude, of just being alone. I fucking love it. I appreciate it. And right now as well, I'm in those moments where it's a weekend, I'm filming, I'm just working, and I wouldn't rather do this. My mom was telling me, like, why aren't you getting a better house in Dubai, or like go live in like Business Bay, and just go get a nice apartment, and do, like I told her, like, I'm not gonna spend that extra $1,000 on doing that when anyways I'm mostly spending my day alone. All I really need is a nice bed, a fucking bathroom. Everything is ordered, food is ordered. Really, I just need this desk, my monitor, my laptop, and I'm chill. I'm good. Because I'm spending most of my time alone. I'm in my solitude. This is where most of my hours are going. And so why would I need a better house than just this simple thing, really? And that's really it. Like, I don't want all those things right now. Like, I'm in those moments, and I'm in that phase, which is gonna be a long phase, by the way. Like, it takes years, really, right? And this is all I need, and I appreciate my solitude. I really appreciate my solitude. And in those trench periods where I've covered this a lot in my other videos, by the way, but in those trench periods where where nothing's really clicking, you're telling people you're gonna have such big goals, you're gonna do all these big things, they're almost shitting on you and telling you to stop and go down this traditional path, and they won't understand that, and you're in that moment, and you truly realize. And I'm telling you, dude, you want those moments. You want that fucking shitty trench period of just months and years where it's really just you with that vision, and just you who knows what you're gonna do. It really hasn't fruition, but that's fine, because once it really does, and once you catch motion, you catch momentum, you'll understand you really just need yourself. You really just need yourself. And with that, you appreciate your own time, you appreciate your own solitude, and you have like an insane level of just inner confidence. Nothing can replace that. Nothing can replace that. And I realized that. I love my solitude. I don't want to fucking I don't want to have time with these people. Like, I've outgrown these small talks. I just don't want it. Like, there's a time and place for that. I'm not saying I won't do that at all, but dude, like, most of the time, like, I really just want to be alone. Sounds sad, sounds depressing. Okay, cool, fine. I'm fine with it. Like, I'm generally fine with it. So that's pretty much it this year. So a big video. 2026, what are my plans, and also 2025. I was very excited to share this. A lot of learnings, and I cannot wait to do this again at the end of this year. So I really hope that this inspires you, because again, I'm sharing a lot about my life, my personal life, building this journey, and I'm glad I'm just able to document this. So yeah, I'll see you guys next year, but in the next few videos as well.